Dude, we're in a foreign stew.
Oh, for real?
Foreign stew. What's up, man? How you been?
Pretty good, you?
Pretty good. Yeah, great week. You know, excited for today. We got the biggest episode we've ever had.
No, for real. Number 4.
If you guys don't know, this is Every Inch Counts podcast. Your hard mic's right here.
Oh, okay.
This is Every Inch Counts podcast. I'm your host, Josh Bogues Boger with
Mikey Manica.
And today's episode, we have a really big episode today. Good friend of mine now. But before we get into that, how was your week, man?
It was actually pretty smooth. Not a lot of crazy stuff happened this week. But, real smooth week at work. Only worked like 3 days. I'm off the next 4. So just been chilling. Couldn't wait for this episode. Like you said, it's a big episode. So, yeah. What about you?
Same, bro. Been grinding.
Yeah,
This week was a grind for me. Staying up late editing every night. And just it's been a week.
Yeah, when you text me like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you're like, I got 5 videos done. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's been a couple late nights. But you ready? You want to get right into the day? Ugh, I can't even speak. It's that monster, dude.
No. Which one was that?
That was a strawberry one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, it was.
I'm more of the white zero sugar
yeah,
one. So.
I'm on monster number 2 today. That's the type of day it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right into it. So our guest today, he comes from NBC's The Biggest Loser. He is a country music star and social media icon. I say icon because he is the biggest social media original short story golf reporter on TikTok, YouTube, anything. And, you know, he is Dan Evans, DansGolfWorld. Let's give it up. Give it a round of applause here.
Oh, what a warm welcome.
What's up, man?
Oh, let me get in the zone here.
Get in the zone, dude.
Dude, I love this.
I know.
I like it. I like the vibe. What's going on, gentlemen?
Not much. Thanks for letting us come in and use a stew.
You know, I love it. I love seeing the space transform. You know what I mean? It's like the studio could be used for anything.
Yeah.
You guys took over the space. I like it.
Yeah, I moved everything in the studio.
Yeah.
Just for this.
It's what it's for. You know what I mean?
How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. Like, I like this orange kind of like it's a little bit of a throwback color for me.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I'm feeling it. I feel like, and then also many years on the road singing, like mic in hand, I'm right at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with the old SM58s.
Dude, it's a vibe, man. It's a vibe every time.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get right into it.
All right. Dive in.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood before the fame.
Before the fame. You know, I feel like what was before the fame? I'm a youngest. You know what I mean? Like when you're the youngest in a family, I got 2 older brothers, it's, you know, you're the attention hog. So it's kind of always been a part of my life. You know, you get 2 older brothers that you feel like you're trying to like stand out amongst. So I was always the one, you know, like dancing in front of the TV when my family's trying to watch a show or do whatever. And it's like, Danny, move, Danny, you know, whatever. I'm like, I want attention. And come on, please. Somebody notice me. I'm the little one. It's fun. Growing up in Midwest, Illinois. I mean, you know, come on, you know, we live a simple life. And I always dreamt of something more.
And you did that. Was there anything that like sparked your influence, or what got you to want to do more?
You know, my parents, you know, they always encouraged me and my brothers growing up to go for it. Like whether it was try out for the musical, try out for the play, try out for a sports team, like whatever it was, they always said, you know, they encourage us. And I think in a good way, like, you know, where like they almost over encourage you and they're like, you're going to be the best at that. Just go for it. Try your hardest. Like, man, you're so good at baseball. You're so good at guitar. You're so good at singing. And I think, you know, it was something that gave like confidence. So like, I was always like, yeah, like I could do that. I could try. I could go for it. You know what I mean? And I think, honestly, I mean, looking back, I think they were like almost like overextending honesty, but in a really good way, because the reverse of that would be, well, I don't know, those other kids are better. Right. Well, you know, other people have been playing guitar longer. Instead, it's like, no, you got something special. Like, you should go do that. And I think that really gave me an encouragement all throughout life to not really be afraid to try stuff.
No, yeah, and I noticed it just from being around all the time now.
Yeah.
Your mom's got that there's not a no attitude, which is awesome. Sometimes, sometimes you can't do something, but
but there's still anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
So you figure it out.
Yeah. Like I remember for the Dance Golf World website. Like, anything's possible. I figure it out. I'm like, all right, yeah.
But isn't it crazy though? Like, I think even in that, like, she pushed you to do something that you've never done before. Mm-hmm. Probably in the beginning, you were like, I've never done this. I don't know. But kind of through that stern encouragement, now you're building websites.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest. I was MF in the computer. I was like, it took me an hour to fix one thing I was trying to fix. Now it's all a breeze. But yeah, due to that impacted me. Yeah, it definitely impacted me.
I think I lucked out. I was at, I don't know, was I at the PGA show or Waste Management or like one of those weeks when you guys were like grinding on that. Yeah. So I kind of like got to step out of the room while you guys just hammered through that. It was, I would say I lucked out that week.
Yeah, that was a long week.
Yeah.
That was a long week of me learning and figuring all that out, and I got it. We got it down packed now.
Solid.
We're posting stuff like within like 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
Not even. It's a great concept, great mindset, and just everything flows now.
Yeah.
But let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Let's fast forward to about when you're at the age of 21. How the hell did you get on The Biggest Loser?
How did
Dude, it's wild. And I will say once again, my mom, for real. She was a huge fan of The Biggest Loser. I never watched it. Never watched like a single episode. And I was like aware of it. Like big shows on TV you're aware of, but I never watched it. And a commercial came on in one of the commercial breaks for the show. And it said open casting calls coming to all these big cities. And one of them, they said Chicago. And she's like, Chicago? Dan should go do that. And she was like, comes into my bedroom, like down the hall, whatever. And at this point, I'm 19 years old. Okay. And she was like, Dan, what would you think about being on TV? I'm like, yes, go on. She was like, how about like a hit reality show? And I was like, okay, what are you thinking? She was like, The Biggest Loser. And I was like, shit. She's like, no, but really think about it. She's like, you've struggled with your weight. You've been, we've done a million diets and, like trying to do it as a family and whatever. She's like, this could be your chance to get like some notoriety, some fame, and be the launch pad to your music. Now I'm intrigued.
You were doing music before Biggest Loser?
I've been playing guitar since I was like 10.
Okay.
I went to music school in Phoenix, Arizona when I was 18. So it was something I was pursuing, and I grew up playing music in church. I was in like punk rock bands, like all kinds of, wacky stuff. Had like crazy hair. Used to have my ears like gauged huge, like the whole thing. And she was like, this could be it. This could be your chance to really launch pad all these things you've always dreamt of. And I was like, okay, I'm in. So I go downtown Chicago, wait in this line of like thousands of people, whatever. Takes 6 hours. Finally get in the room, get in the casting room. And it was a table kind of like this, but maybe 10 people at it and a casting producer on the other side. And my mom says, because she sent me in there alone. And she was like, when you get in there, you got one shot. You have to impress these people. You got one moment to give them everything and to stand out in this crowd. Think of the thousands of people that have been here. How are they going to remember you? I was like, okay. She's like, give them the funny, give them whatever you can, like just stand out in the crowd. And I was like, I got it. So they take us in, they bring us up, sit us in this big table. They're going through 10 people every 10 minutes, flying. And there's 2 tables. So it's like 20 people at a time. So this line is just cruising. And we get in there and they're like, first person, they're like, what's your name? Why do you want to be The Biggest Loser? First person's like, my name is so-and-so, and I want to be on the show to lose weight for my kids so I can be there with my family. They're like, Next person, they're like, well, I want to be on the show. That way I could be healthier and, I have all these health problems. They're like, yeah, okay. So I'm like, oh, I gotta I got to like send it hard.
You gotta.
I got to give it to him. So goes down, finally comes to me and they're like, go ahead, what's your name and why do you have on the show? And I was like, my name is Dan Evans and I want to be on The Biggest Loser so I can fit my fat butt into a pair of leather pants and be a rock star. Like, what was your name again? Hold on. And so it keeps going around the table like, okay, now tell us a story about, and they were going to go to the first person. I'm like, I got a story for you. I'm like, you want to hear some story? I got a story for you. And I just like let it go. I let it fly, you know? And I got a call back like 3 hours later. I get home. They went through the rest of the line. And I was like, apparently at the top of the list. And they're like, hey, we want to do a follow-up interview with you. It's going to happen tomorrow. Come downtown, Hyatt Hotel, and we're going to do a big, long interview with you. And I was like, okay, I'm in. And well, now this time, it's going to be me, those two casting producers that were running the two tables in like a hotel room with like a camera and a spotlight for an hour and a half where they put you on camera and they just want to figure out like, was that a moment or is there really something here? And it was wild. And I told stories. I brought my guitar. Like I didn't know what they wanted, but I was ready for whatever. And they're like, well, we see you brought your guitar. I was like, you want me to play? You know what I mean?
See something?
Yeah. And I was like, getting it out. I'm like, you know, doing the whole thing. And they were just like, dude, we love this. You're great. They ended up, time goes by. It's this like forever process. They'll call you one week and be like, hey, real quick. Do you have any tattoos or know how to swim? Like yeah,
that's so random.
For real. And at the time I'm like, no, 0 tattoos. And yes, I am an expert swimmer. I specialize in the doggy paddle, you know. They're like, okay, you know, all this time goes by. They're like, we want to fly you out to California. This is going somewhere and this is important. I get out there, I get to California. They say, here's the way it goes. When you fly in, we're going to pick you up from the airport in a van. There's going to be a bunch of people in the van. You can't talk to anybody. Do not say a word. Like it is silence. Okay. Get in the van. Other rotund people fill up the van and they bring us up to our hotel room. Everybody's in their own room and they bring me in, send me in the door and they're like, you don't get a hotel room key. When you go in your room, you are only allowed to leave when you're escorted by us. Otherwise you stay in your room. If at any point you leave your room, we catch you, we send you home. That's it. It's called sequestering. You're in your room. We send people home every day. At the end of 7 days, if you're still here, you've probably made it on the show.
Wow.
So you're, I mean, in the kindest way possible, imprisoned a little, you know, in a fun way. You know,
in a hotel room.
Yeah, room service, the whole thing. It's fine. I make it to the 8th day. 8 days.
Extra day.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm in, right? I'm in. And just like that happens every day, all of a sudden the hotel phone rings. Like, phone, like that stupid old phone on the thing, you know, it's filthy. It rings and I'm like, yo, I'm like, hello, Dan here. You know, what do you need? They're like, hey, what's up? It's so-and-so from the casting department. I'm just going to cut to the chase. You were an alternate. If anybody didn't get picked, anybody's medical, background checked, anything failed, you were in. Everybody passed. Your flight's in 3 hours. Go ahead and pack your stuff up. And we're sending you downstairs. You're going home.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Devastated. Just crushed. I mean, like I'm sitting, I'm like, you know, like it went from this like insane thing I didn't want to do to this thing that like I had now invested so much and I started seeing it. Like it all started like coming to life. And I head downstairs, they put me in a van, they drop me off. They already had my plane ticket, they hand it to me and they leave me at the airport and I fly home. I fly back to Chicago and I get home and I'm just distraught. And my mom's like, Dan, I know this is probably the last thing on earth you want to hear, but let me just say it. I'm going to say it once and I'm going to say it only one time. Good things happen to good people. And if you truly believe, everything in life always works out. I'm like, that's the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life. How is this a good thing? What about this is good? What, Mom? She's like, that's all I'm saying. I'm leaving. Do your thing, whatever. Just remember this moment in time that I did say that, and I'm leaving, and I'm out. Biggest Loser season starts, goes on air, whatever. I get a phone call, says California. I'm like, here we go. I'm like, hello, who is it? They're like, hey, it's the Biggest Loser. We're doing a new season. We're going to duos, and we are rapid casting this season. It's going to be our longest season we've ever had. We're going to 2-hour episodes. We're moving into prime time, and we're starting the week after the last episode ends. So we're going to be running all these promos for the new season, all through season 4, right into season 5. Will you come cast for the show again? But you need to bring a partner. Like, holy shit. Hey, Mom. You know, that's my turn.
Yeah.
Knock at the door, the whole thing. And we go through the whole process. We fly to California. We get locked in our room, the whole thing, except for this time. We go down to this room, down at the bottom of the hotel. And one of the creators of the show, executive producers, JD Roth, stands in front of the room. And he was like, hey, guys, this is the hardest part for me. And I have to do this every season. But right now I'm going to announce who in this room has made it on The Biggest Loser. And we're all just like, fuck. Like, we're all sitting in this room. Again, we can't talk. That whole silence rule. He goes, but actually, it's going to be pretty simple for me because all of you made it. You guys are on the next season of The Biggest Loser. We're all like, wow, my God. Like, freaking out. We're jumping, like, hugging people we've never met, like, wrapping our arms around each other's large
Did you still have to be silent?
We couldn't hold it in. It was like, okay. They're like, guys, save it for camera. That's all. Settle down. You guys got to head back up to your hotel rooms. We're leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're heading to the ranch and the game show begins. Leave your bags in your room. We will come get them. We're going to be inspecting them to make sure there's nothing in there you're not supposed to have. If you have cell phones, leave them in there. We're going to be holding on to those for the next 4 months or until you get voted off. And welcome to The Biggest Loser.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Insane. Just this crazy journey, like highs, lows, everything. And all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're on TV now.
And then I remember you telling me through the second round, you initially were going to have your brother on there.
Yeah, it's true. My brother and I always kind of struggle with our weight, but him never anywhere near as much as me. And the funny thing was I was like, well, I got my mom or my brother and like, we'll send us some pictures and do whatever. And they're like, he could lose some weight, but like he doesn't need to be on like The Biggest Loser. They're like, but you and your mom, like that's the dynamic.
You were a big boy.
I was a big boy.
I seen some pictures.
Oh yeah,
I seen some pictures.
He was a big boy.
Some of them, the ones without my shirt on that they're still floating around the internet. My favorite one is, I don't know if it's even findable anymore, but somebody took it like a picture of Chris Griffin from Family Guy and put it next to me, and like with the earrings and like the hat, like I was like you know the blonde hair like coming down. I was like, they're not wrong. Like it's, I don't know. I have a good sense of humor. Like I can laugh at anything, but that was probably one of my favorite sort of memes that came out of all of it.
So you get on the show and take us through like your weekly schedule. Cause was it every week was an episode or was it like every 3 days was an episode or?
It's right about one episode a week.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about the show is like Survivor happens in like what 30 or 40 days or something
It
like
used
that.
to be longer. They cut it down.
The Biggest Loser takes 6 months.
Damn.
6 months. Because in order to get these like these dramatic weight loss stories, it takes a lot of time. Even if you're losing weight rapidly, you know, for someone to lose, you know, for me, 136 pounds, you can't do that in 40 days. It's impossible.
No.
I mean, unless you got a scalpel and like, you know, a bucket. But so it literally like from day one on, you wake up, you get a little breakfast, you go to the gym and you start working out for 2 or 3 hours. You take a break, a little snack, you head back to the gym and work out for like 2 or 3 hours. You take lunch, you go do some filming stuff, you go do like your interviews, like whatever. You go back and work out for a few hours. And then the trainers leave for the day and they're like, hey, tonight before you guys all go to bed, we want you to get 2 more hours in. So, I mean, it is just constant movement. I mean, it's not like you're like doing bench press the whole time, but you might be on an elliptical for like 90 minutes, like for one little section of the day. And then all of a sudden you're on like treadmill, incline, power walking for another like 75 minutes. Like crazy. I mean, you talk like you're taking people that are like completely overweight, out of shape. Like it's not like, yeah, well, we're all like large football players. No, that's not how you get on the show.
No.
It was such an insane lifestyle change, and it literally just involved these crazy workouts. And then one day a week you had a temptation where they set up some game where it's like, if you eat this food, you could win like, you know, $10,000. And then there was always a challenge where it's like whoever can walk across this high beam that goes over a mountain and bring the rings from one side to the other, like whatever, you might get immunity for the week for your team, or you never know. And then the end of the week always concluded with a weigh-in. And then that night after the weigh-in was always an elimination. Somebody went home, and then you start that cycle again. And you just go week after week after week. It's crazy.
Now, how much time, because you said it took hours to do that weigh-in every week.
Yeah.
How much time did that take, and how much time in between did you have from the weigh-in and then the voting?
So, like, elimination altogether started at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, from like where you do like interviews and you go out and talk to the camera and they're like, okay, Dan, tell us what you're thinking about tonight's elimination. And then they teach you to always incorporate the question in your answer. So you would say something like, I'm really nervous about tonight's elimination. I know that I'm a big threat in this house and in this game. So I feel like if I don't pull big numbers, they're going to be coming for me. So I need a big week, and I need to pull one off, not just for my team, but for myself. So you're always just like, in these, like, okay, now walk us through what happened earlier when this, and, so it's like the interview process. Then you go line up, and then you start walking to up to the gym where they do the weigh-in and stuff. And even that, like, you go 25 steps, stop, go back 10 or 15, go another 25 steps, and they keep filming it different ways. Like, walking to the gym took 45 minutes.
They didn't have multiple cameras?
They did, but like the steady cams and then the jibs and like all that stuff, like they want to keep getting it different ways, and like the close-ups. And then, I mean, it was insane. I mean, I think on like big production days, like weigh-ins and stuff, there was like 12 cameras running, I think. And every camera is a 3-man crew with sound, and then the camera's assistant, and then the cameraman. So you like, or woman, sorry. There's so many people like off camera. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it looks like, wow, you're just standing up there weighing in. There's 45 people that like nobody's seeing. And then back in like the production room that are watching all the screens is like another 35 or 40 people. I mean, so it's a ton of people, but they make it feel like it's you and the host and your trainer, and but it's wild. There's so much going on around you while you're trying to like pretend like this is all normal and we're doing reality,
Yeah, and then growing up, I watched your season was my favorite season.
Was it for real?
It for real was.
That's
like,
funny.
That's why, like, after I interviewed with you, I had no clue. I had zero clue, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, he looks familiar. He looks familiar. And then Faith, my girlfriend, looked you up.
Yeah.
And she goes, he was on The Biggest Loser. I go, wait a second. Because I remember someone was from, like, around here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second.
What are the odds?
I go, what are the odds of that being him? I'm like, holy shit. It's you. And I'm like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
But, so you had Bob.
Yeah.
You had Bob Harper.
Bob is incredible. Great dude.
How different? Because you said you trained with Jillian for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially on like no camera days, dark days as they called them. So they'd usually film like 5 days out of the 7-day week. So you'd have 2 dark days, no cameras are running. Then we could like listen to music in the gym and like wear whatever we wanted. It was nice. We could have like our little DVD players, like back in the day, like little flip up DVD player thing, like on the treadmill. A lot of fun. On camera days, you can't have any of that. So sometimes on those dark days, Bob would be like, okay, I'm taking half the group outside and we're doing this. Jillian's doing an inside workout. And then after an hour or whatever, we're going to switch. Then you go train with Jillian and the other half comes out with me. So it was far less like of this like team thing on the dark days until we almost got to the finish and it got really, really competitive. Mm-hmm. Then it was like, they're over in the corner, like doing secrets and like whatever. It was such a weird dynamic change. But like, I mean, you have to imagine you're trapped in this house. You don't have phone. You don't have internet. You don't have TV. There's like a stack of like old crappy DVDs. And all you do is just work out all day and night. So you start to get like a little mental a little. And this game starts to mean like weirdly like too much. It becomes your life and your world. So you would imagine as you're getting closer to the end and the prize money and all that, like there is like a little insanity that sort of takes over among everybody. And so a lot of the friendliness starts going away and it's a weird shift. So I would say like maybe week 10, week 11, week 12, all of a sudden there wasn't this like we're training with both trainer things anymore.
Did you have beef with anyone?
No. I would say because I was the youngest. I was actually the youngest contestant in the history of the show at the time. And I think because of that, like I was just like fun and ridiculous and saying stupid stuff the whole time. I think people were annoyed with me because I was the biggest loser of the week, like 50% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like dominating. And then like the one week I fell below, which was the week before the finale, that was when I got voted off.
Yeah, because I remember watching it. You were crazy. You were pretty much like the poster boy of the season, and then after that, the whole show.
Yeah,
like
it was weird.
And you were telling me, like you were doing all the interviews you can. Like you were the only one that was really cooperating after a certain amount of weeks and all that stuff. What was everyone doing? Were they just done, or were they just like overworked, or?
I think they were just exhausted with it. Like the same routine where like every day you got to go do these like interview setups and like all this stuff. And they want like, they're kind of asking the same questions over and over. So what'd you think of the weigh-in this week? What'd you think about who went home? This and that. Like it'll wear you out a little. And I think they were just kind of, I don't know, like starting to like phone it in and just like giving these same like package responses. And the story producers are like, we are making network TV. We can't just have like, the weigh-in was crazy. I was worried about going home. And like me, I just like got more and more comfortable in it and just kept like giving them the goods. And I could tell like they were loving it. They were laughing. Like even the producers were just like, dude, damn, like good job. And I was like, nice. Like I'm being patted like, oh, I'm being told I'm doing good, you know? And so I kind of fell in love with the process. And I think they just kind of started veering a lot of the attention to me because I was giving them what they needed. There's even a point where JD Roth, the original creator producer who invited us on the show, told us we all made it, comes into a challenge and he's like, guys, everybody, listen up. Like, I don't know what's happening. The energy is all the way down. You guys are getting so close. Let's not give up. He's like, we're running into a problem that if we need a go-to person for telling story, we just keep going to Dan. And if you guys want to be a part of the show, if you want anything out of this, you got to step it up. Or this whole thing is going to be just him.
Yeah, that's honestly what it kind of seemed like.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the only thing that wasn't you was the winner, Allie.
Yeah.
When she came back, looked like she had liposuction.
She must have been grinding.
Like, it looked borderline, like, it didn't look natural.
Yeah.
And I'm specifically watched that part because I was wondering how she won because I thought she got voted off early, and she did. And I'm watching. I'm like, she's like a third of what she was before. Like, what the hell happened? That just doesn't happen, or it seems like that doesn't happen in, like, how many weeks she was gone? Like 7-8 weeks?
So do you know why they ended up bringing 2 contestants back?
They add an extra week?
They needed 2 more episodes because this was during the writer strike out in LA. And because it's a non-scripted show, it didn't fall into the writers' unions. So they were trying to cram as much non-scripted television on NBC as possible. And that's why they fast-tracked the show, because they knew this was all happening. That's why they extended it to a 2-hour show to film more primetime. And mid-season, they said, hey, we need 2 additional episodes out of you guys. So they came up with this plot twist to bring 2 eliminated players back on the show because that gave them 2 more eliminations and that allowed them to extend the season. So it was this crazy plot twist behind the scenes was actually because they were trying to problem solve this crazy writer strike going on.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, you were 100% on the biggest season that they ever had.
It was nuts.
Do you have any behind the scenes stories like
Any funny stories?
Any funny stories, any juicy stories?
For sure. Way too many. So as time went on and I got more and more comfortable out there and like was just having fun screwing around, there were these golf carts that were like for production and stuff. And like if we were out like doing like a running thing, they'd have like a camera guy. They were like had like the flatbed on the back and then like the driving seat up front. And so the camera guy would be like sitting on the flatbed, like filming as the guy's driving and you're like running and whatever. Well, on like dark days and stuff, they would just be sitting around like parked. nobody's there. Like they would have like a few casting assistants around just like in case we needed anything. But other than that, there was nobody. And then at night, there was nobody. There was somebody, they're called like a night logger. So they watch the like the little cameras in the corner of the room.
Yeah, like security.
Yeah. And all they're doing is just journaling story like, hey, we heard these two talking trash on that other person. So we're going to give it to the story producer in the morning so they can pull them an interview and try and grab story. That's it. There's one guy on the whole set and then like a security guy. I would go out and take these golf carts and go rip them around at night. And there's this part like where there's this crazy high mountain. We had to go up to the top in the first episode. And then there's a few other challenges. Like we ended up going up there. I took one of the golf carts all the way up this insane mountain to the top. And I like almost got it stuck. And I had this girl, Brittany, like on the show with me. And she was like, hey, you're crazy. And I'm just like, wow, like going nuts. And the next day they come back. And I think like no one's here. It's fine. It's whatever. One of the producers comes over and sits down. They're like, Dan, we know you're taking the golf cart. and we followed the cameras. And the only thing we could see is that you went towards the mountain. You were gone for like 45 minutes and you brought it back and that thing's filthy.
You went mudding?
You can't do that. They're like, dude, you cannot do that. I was like, all right, my bad. Anyway, you need me for camera? Like, whatever. They're like, dude, you're ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that was like some of my fun. I mean, you're just trying to find stupid stuff to do.
Now, back then, you were 21. You're single lad.
Yeah.
There was a couple cuties on the season?
Yeah.
Were you vibing with any of them?
You know, here's the thing. When you grow up as like a plus size youth, you got no riz. Like I had nothing. I had no game. I had nothing. So like the only game I knew was like friend zone. And so like that was always like my approach, like to try and like become friends. Like, do you need anything? Can I get you some water? Like you've been working out all day. They're like, yeah, grab me a water and maybe make me a sandwich. And, but yeah, I had no clue how to like assemble like some sort of whatever smoothness. But at the same time, as like in the beginning parts, no one's attractive. And then the end parts when like people start like kind of
forming.
The competition's so strong that it's just like we're here to step on each other's throats and the whole thing. But here's what I'll say. I can confirm that there was some of that going on that I wasn't involved in. That's all I'm going to say. There was some of that going on.
Okay. We won't get into detail. We won't get in.
Here's all I can imagine, though. There's cameras in every room.
Oh, Biggest Loser porno?
And all I'm saying is there's some live logger working at night. The night logger.
He's got some sticky keys.
Dude, who had to witness probably just some gross, yeah.
I wonder if it was the ex-wife and ex-husband on the season.
Again, I stay out. I've said too much.
Okay, so during the show, you and the blue team, when you switched over from orange to blue, you guys went to Vegas.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
You and Roger.
Yeah.
Did you guys get trashed? Because you guys weren't supposed to be drinking, but honestly, did you guys go out and have a good time?
So here's the thing. I did have a drink. I did not get trashed, but I did stay up all night. So there was this blend of like the way they filmed it and like I couldn't wake up the next morning and I skipped my morning workout and whatever is true. Like I couldn't open my eyes. I didn't want to get out of bed. I did have a drink because like I'm 21. It was my first time in Vegas. Like, how do you not? I'm like, I'm on TV, like, yeah, whatever.
And you had to get a tattoo too.
Yeah, that was the next day. Yeah. After they woke me up, they're like, hey, you got to get up. We're going to do this tattoo scene. And that was where I got this monster tattoo. My very first tattoo. I got on the show. I've had it redone and like, added some time to it. But the funny thing was, we were going to do this tattoo scene and like, Roger got like this little thing with like a football with his son's name on it, like whatever. Some of the other guys got like a little thing here, whatever. And I'm like, we're getting free tattoos. I'm doing like a huge arm piece.
You didn't have to pay for it?
No.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So everyone's done.
Because weren't you supposed to get like pride put on you?
Yeah, I wasn't doing that. You know, I'm like, I want something. Like, well, 'cause my whole thing, I'm like, play guitar. I want something that's like, going to show when I play guitar, like, and everyone's done. They're wrapped up. Like the camera crew's ready to leave, and I still have like another hour left to my session. Like I just was like gonna go full blown like huge arm piece. First tattoo. That's how you gotta do it.
Yeah, that's nuts. They even brought your mom back on the show to see the tattoo.
Yeah, they did. And they're like, Jackie, notice anything different about Dan? She was like, he looks like he's lost some weight. Looks great, She's like, Dan? I was like, and she goes, oh my God. My son, my baby, and she was like, okay, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. Like, she's like, good for you.
Because are you the only one?
Yeah, I'm the only in my whole family that has any tattoos, piercings, anything like that.
The same with mine. My mom had the same reaction once I started getting
Yeah.
more tattoos. But so do you still like, you were tight with Roger, you were tight with I forgot what their names were, but they were
Mark and Jay.
Mark and Jay.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in contact with them at all, or anyone from the season?
It faded. There was like this period early on where like everybody stayed in touch and like checking on each other. And like if you're traveling through town, like, yo, dude, I'm going to be in Chicago or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be down wherever, And it was like kind of like to like, I now haven't talked to any of those guys in years.
Yeah, because it's been like 17 years since the season.
Oh my God. 2008. Is that long ago?
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like 4 lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Wow.
Me and you gotta try to get a hold of them.
Maybe we do. Maybe next time, when we revisit the pod, we get them on like a video channel. We're like,
Yeah, we got the big ass TV right there.
I'm telling you,
that we don't use.
we don't. We'll find a reason to
Yeah,
have
we'll find
it.
a reason for it. But all this Biggest Loser stuff, that really sparked your future.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the whole goal.
Yeah.
So after the Biggest Loser, not only were you like the poster boy, but you started being the head guy for the Biggest Loser Walk Run.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? The Biggest Loser Walk Run
The
Club?
Biggest Loser Run Walk Race Series. Half marathons, 5Ks,
Yeah.
10Ks, the whole thing.
Yeah, how was doing that? That seems like it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it kind of looks like it could have been a pain in the ass.
So it was this like weird evolution to get there. And so as soon as I got off the show, I fly to Nashville, I record an album, I start touring. And while I'm touring and playing music, I connect with the Rock and Roll Marathon, one of the biggest marathon series in the world. And they're like, hey, like fitness, music, rock and roll, marathon, great connection. Dan from The Biggest Loser is going to be here. So I ended up traveling for like a year and a half doing all these like half marathons. I ended up running like 32 half marathons while I was like doing this circuit. And that was when I realized, I was like, man, like my biggest fan base is not at like honky tonks and bars and like everywhere I was traveling to play music. It's at these types of events. Like it was literally like 1 in 3 people were just like, oh, you're Dan, you're David the Biggest Loser. Like it was like, holy cow, this is where I belong. Like these are the people who know, my story and my journey and have heard of me and all that stuff. And so we went to NBC, and this was an idea of my mom and I, that we said, NBC, there needs to be a Biggest Loser run walk. Like we think that this should happen. And they're like, okay, sounds good. It's whatever, $1.5 million licensing fee to use the Biggest Loser name. We're like, oh, okay, cool, never mind.
Yeah.
But not my mom, because everything's possible.
Yep.
Everything's
Everything's
done.
possible.
You're either going to build this website or we're going to raise $1.5 million or whatever it takes. And we did. We started taking the idea around and pitching it to different people and whatever, and got some investors and got some other partners involved and kind of pulled together everything we had and did all this and ended up putting together the finances for her and I to start this fitness organization and launch the Biggest Loser Run Walk Race Series. And the weird thing behind it was we were like the founders of the company. Our names were on this licensing deal with NBC Universal. And then we would travel around to the races and pretend like we were the Biggest Losers. They flew in to be at the event. So nice to meet you. We're so glad and honored that they let us be here,
That's
People
funny.
had no idea
That is so funny.
that we put the whole thing together. What was wild is I would always have like, I called it my costume, where I would have like a Biggest Loser shirt and then like, whatever I was going to wear. And I would do all the hosting at the start line. I'm like, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out to the Biggest Loser Run Walk here in Plattsburgh, New York. Whether this is your first time or your last time, you're out here inspiring each and every one. And like that, I'm like yelling on the mic for hours. And then at the finish line, I would play music and do the whole thing like, welcome back. You guys did it. Let's go. And we'd sing songs. And everybody'd like, get their like finish line banana and their medal. But like prior to all that, I'm out there making the balloon arch like for the event. I'm like carrying cases of medals and setting up the finish line zone. And then like an hour before a race, I would go into the tractor trailer, have my costume hanging up and go from work clothes into my costume and then step up on stage and be like, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out and joining us. And so it was funny. People were like, wow, this is so cool that they're having you out to do this. I'm like, I know it's really special to get to be a part of. Like never telling people that this whole thing we thought up and launched this entire race series that went on for 3 years. We did like 75 events across the country, had hundreds of thousands of participants come to all these events.
Yeah, because they were advertising it from the next season after.
Yeah.
It was like I think it might have been 2 or 3 seasons after they were still
Yeah, and
advertising
then I
it.
went back on the show to like promote the event,
Yeah.
and then we had a Biggest Loser Run Walk race as a challenge on the Biggest Loser, and it's wild because they're like the Biggest Loser now offers a 5K and a 10K and a half marathon, and you can go out and you'll get to meet Dan and Jackie and other Biggest Losers from the past and whatever, and people are like, whoa, we saw you on the show, it's so cool, and I was like, well, that was part of our licensing agreement, like we, it was part of
Yeah.
what we paid for.
Yeah, you had to show up.
Yeah. So it was just funny that like there was this whole inner workings that really nobody knew about.
That's crazy. It's crazy how you were doing that in the middle of your music.
Yeah.
And speaking of your music, in 2008, you released an album called Going All Out.
That's it. Going all out, man. I was going all out.
You were. And, I finally listened to it. I finally
listen.
I finally gave it a
I
listen.
don't push it on anybody. And I feel like, it's
great.
aged a little.
It's great.
When I listen to it myself, I'm like, oh, these old songs. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So, talk to me about your inspiration of these songs, because there's 3 of them that really stood out, and even on like iTunes, they had a little star on the side.
Ooh.
So those are the top hits.
Yeah.
But Going All Out, the title track, All That's in My Head,
Yeah.
and then These Things I Pray.
Yeah.
Like those songs popped.
So the cool thing was after I get off the show, kind of coming off of such like a high, tidal wave from the season, I get to Nashville and there's so many people down there that are like, yo, dude, like whatever. Like I would go out and people were like, can I get a picture? How's your mom? Like, oh my God. And what's funny is like people had this feeling like they knew me, not just like, oh, there's whatever Keith Urban, like, oh my goodness. It was more like, Dan, and they would like slap me in the arm. I'm like, Jesus. They're like, how are ya? Like, I'll come over here, give me a hug. Like people were like literally like that, willing to be like physical with me, but like they just felt like they knew me. And so I get down to Nashville and it was the same thing. Well, the cool thing was like people in the music industry also watched the show.
Yeah.
And I get down there and I was like, hey, aren't you doing the music thing? Like, you know who you need to meet? You should go talk to them. Like, here, I'll set you up. No, here, come on. I'll take you down there. And like, I start meeting all these people. And before I know it, I get connected with some really cool music producers and songwriters. And like, this whole thing started coming together like crazy fast. And so I was co-writing on songs. I was working with other songwriters. The guy who ended up producing my album, one of the producers on the album, Jim Kimball, is like, you got to meet my wife. She was Songwriter of the Year the last 2 years in a row.
Damn.
We should all co-write together. And I'm like, okay, like, holy cow. So I had the opportunity to co-write about half the album. And then the other half were just other writers who were like, dude, I think this song is so perfect from your story. And so since we were putting things together so quick, I was like listening to songs. I was like, so These Things I Pray was written by my producer's wife. She was the Songwriter of the Year. And she was like, Dan, this song I've always known needed like a special home, and I want you to listen to this. I would love for you to share this song on your album. And I listened and I was like, I don't even know how to write that. Like how'd you think of that part? Like, that's so good. She was like, I would love for you to record that on your album. And I was like,
Damn.
may I? She was like, will you? I was like, I think we both agree this is a great idea. So it was just very cool how songs found me, I found them. I was a part of writing some were brought to me like out of the woodwork. And when we were done, it was like, that's it. Like, this is the album. And they're like, well, what order are you going to put them in? I was like, oh shit, I never thought of that part.
That's a crucial.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was just a fun journey as well. It's like, okay, like, and I remember like thinking through it, like, okay, I'm going all out and this, and okay, then we're going to go high and then we're going to go low and kind of like take this like whole journey, like back and forth. And then we're going to land on These Things I Pray. Like, that's like the send off message, the finale piece to the album. And, it was wild. Like, all this stuff, getting to do it, getting to be a part of it, like life changing so quick from being, just a kid who played my guitar at church and in some dumb bands to like getting flown to California and then going straight to Nashville and then recording this album and, getting in a giant tour bus and traveling around the entire country and going to Japan and like playing all over the place. Like, it was insane the way things came together so quick.
Now, you were relatively young, like younger than what our age at that point.
They'd be like, I feel like you guys are young, and it's weird to think that I was the little kid in the room, like from this part of the story we're talking about.
So you were young. Did that stuff, all the fame, all how fast it was, do you think it got to your head at all, or do you think you were just like riding that wave?
I don't know. Like, I think, Midwest people are different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We came from a place where like, like in my house, my parents are like, hey, go say thank you. Like, look at them when they're talking to you. Like, like hold the door for the person. Like, just grew up in a house where like you treat people kind. And like, if someone's talking, you listen and you engage. And, so I was always so thankful. I mean, I will say, like, was there a point in time in my music career, like where I got drunk and maybe was like an idiot? Like, probably. But I would say the majority of the time, people would be like, dude, I met you a few years back. Remember, here's the picture we took. Like, just like people that for them, it seemed like a really great experience. And I always just tried to like let the person have their moment. Cause I know what it's like when you meet somebody that you watched or whatever, and they're just like, oh yeah, hey, no, I don't have time. Like, take care. And you're like, dude, what was his problem? I just wanted to say hi. And so, and especially with my mom on the show, like, if there were moments, she'd be like, hey, Dan, can you come out of the bus? There's some kids out here who want to like do a picture real quick. And I'm like, all right, let me throw a hat on or whatever. And she's like, yeah. She's like, hey, Dan's going to be right out. Like, so I would say there were parts of it, like having my mom there with me through the journey. And like my dad was driving the bus. My brothers were with me. It really kept me grounded because it's like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, all these people know you, but at the other end of the day, you're still like the youngest brother and like, shut up and don't be a dickhead.
Yeah. And, another story that's really never been told is that reality show you guys try to shoot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude, you're digging in the archives. I forgot about that. We did. Well, because so we had this whole dynamic where it was like dad's driving the bus, my mom's like kind of managing the whole thing, and like my brothers and everybody. We're like, well, dude, this is like a reality show kind of a thing. And we put it together and got a little help kind of producing the whole thing and had a full camera crew. And we filmed like this entire pilot episode for a show. And we pitched it to like E! Network and CMT and like GAC, whatever the other country music station is. And kind of like it got a ton of interest. But the one thing they said was like the drama and all the fun is great, but like you guys are all so nice to each other. Like you're good people. And like part of what makes great TV is like that side of kind of treating each other like shit a little bit. And we're like, well, we don't really do that. Like we're respectful to each other. Like we're all in this together. Like we're not going to be like motherfucking each other. Like it's like, no, it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You guys are like the Brady Bunch.
We were. And they're like, that doesn't fit sort of the modern culture of reality shows. But they said, we love what the premise is. Could you guys kind of recreate this where there's a little more of like family drama? And we're like, no. Like, that's not us.
Yeah, no. You should have put some gloves on and just boxed your brothers, have a little
I would have
tournament.
lost. Just did. My brothers would have just pounded me. And I'm like, I'm going to be on stage. They're like, we don't give a shit.
See, that would have been so cool to see. But you did have another show.
Yeah.
You had your cooking show.
Oh my God, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Dude,
been so much going on.
I take
Oh my
this.
God.
Really
I
digging
take
in.
this. I take this job seriously, man.
So this was a wild thing. So part of promoting the Biggest Loser Run Walk Race series was going around and doing like the morning news show circuit, like where you go.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
I was everywhere, and dude, for like 3 years straight was nuts. Where I would fly out like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, go do radio shows, morning shows, like get around, be on everything. And then by like the weekend, I would fly out and then go do the race event. And then I'd fly in, do the whole thing, set up the balloon arch, like do the expo, like speak on stage, play music, the whole thing. And then when our whole crew would go back home and like get back to the office and work on logistics, I would fly to the next city or a city we're going to be in like 5 weeks and start trying to sell tickets. And so I was flying everywhere from like Las Cruces, New Mexico, down to like Miami and then up to Seattle. And like I was just nonstop by myself. Like nobody with me. I would just like get on my next flight, get my rental car, check into my hotel, get some dinner, crash for the night, drive to the news station, head back to the airport, jump on a plane, fly somewhere else, get a car, get a hotel, do it again, do another race that weekend, and just kept repeating. And we were just like, we can't cover enough ground like this. We have too many events on the books for me to be like doing this kind of like by hand almost. So we came up with this idea, and we're like, all right, morning news shows. One of the big things I was doing is I would go on and I would cook. And I'd be like, hey guys, like, hey, we're going to, like, cause like, what are you going to do when you're on the show? I was like, well, I'm going to show like I'm going to make like a healthy salad dressing. And then meanwhile, it's like, oh, it's cool. You mix this, olive oil, avocado, this and that. And by the way, don't forget, head to biggestloserrunwalk.com. We're going to be here in 3 weeks. Check it out, sign up, da-da-da. So I would always do something fun and then plug the race. And we're like, there's got to be a better way. What if we filmed the cooking segments out of a studio, sent them out to the stations, and then traded that for commercial time? Every station was like, we love it. We are starved for content. Like, we loved having you on. You've only been here twice. If we could have you on every single week, this would be killer for us. We're like, boom. So we start contacting all of these TV stations of all these cities we're going to. And it was called Fit Tips with Dan. And I just made this TV show, and it was down in the basement. So before the studio was up here, it used to be down there. And I built this entire cooking studio in my basement.
You did it in the basement?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought you were on set somewhere. Like,
Dude, no, we built
like
the set.
downtown.
Like, we had lights hanging. We built a full kitchen. It was a fake kitchen. Like, the cabinets didn't even open.
wow.
Yeah, it was like a legit
Do
full
they open now?
Yeah, you know, well, like we ended up putting, because we had all that stuff, we ended up putting a real kitchen in down there. So we had like, we already ran like the gas lines and everything, so it made sense. But we had to like rip all the fake stuff out. Like the wall wasn't even real. It was just like some like paneling, like
Wow.
like you know what I mean. It wasn't a real wall. Like, it was wild. So I more or less, to save myself from all this travel, created like this like pseudo syndicated cooking show that was airing in like 25 or 30 cities around the country. And I would send them this stuff, and then they would trade us for commercial time to promote these events.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a wild idea.
Yeah, that's really outside the box.
You're way outside the box.
And you know, the basement's huge.
yeah,
And
it's perfect.
yeah, and
Who knew?
Yeah, I'm like lost of words. Like, I didn't realize you did that here.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just always trying to think of that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know.
So let's fast forward, or let's take a big jump. Let's talk about the time in between your, you know, your traveling phase, your rock star lifestyle phase, in between that and what you're doing now. What happened? Because it's almost like you disappeared.
I got exhausted.
I bet.
I mean, just exhausted. After traveling on the road, I mean, it was pretty much almost like 8 or 9 years straight. From the time I got off the show, you know, from leaving for the show, coming off the show, doing music, then the Rock and Roll Marathon series, then the Biggest Loser Run Walk series, like all of this, like each part of those things was like a 2-3 year span.
Wow.
And by the end of it, it was like our license was coming to the end with Biggest Loser. And they're like, you know, you have the option to renew. The show wasn't really doing as well. You could kind of tell it was wrapping up. And we're
Yep.
like, no, we don't want to go out and find another $1.5 million bucks. We're done. Like, we're just not going to renew the license. We had our run. It was great. We sold all of the race gear to some other race company and just put that sort of journey to bed.
Perfect time for it too.
It really was. It was great timing.
Perfectly timed. Yeah.
And it was, so at that point, I'm like, I'm kind of done running around like crazy. And I ended up coming back and working in the family business. And we've done youth programs. My mom started a youth program like 22 years ago.
That was in my school growing up.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wonder if I worked there while you were in school.
Probably not, because it was an after school program.
Okay.
I was never in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Still weird.
yeah.
Like, you were Mr. Dan. Like, dude. Here's the weirdest thing. We had the contract for a while in the grade school I went to. And like, so like going from like attending school to like working there in the same building, super weird vibe. Yeah. So I come back and I jump in, and my mom was kind of like ready to be like slow down in life, and she didn't want to be running that business. My brother Joe he was in the CEO role, and he was like, Dan, like, what if you come here and help me run this thing? And we maybe take this thing to a new level and grow it and bring on more contracts and get in more schools and get more signups going. And, it was perfect timing, because the lovely gal I was dating, we progressed things along, and now we're going to get married. And shortly after that, we ended up having twins. And it was just a wonderful time in life to like put the crazy, chaotic travel lifestyle away and kind of settle back down at home, begin to build like a family and like some sort of like a structured type of life, and start working 15 minutes from my house. I mean, it was,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it was perfect timing. And we kind of gave that like a solid run, and I'm still very involved with that business. But we grew it like crazy. I mean, I think we like 3 or 4x'd the company over the next 4 or 5 years. Just, I mean, like wild growth in the business and bringing in new people and team and leadership and all that stuff. But I missed that thing. I missed the camera, the performing, the creative, and all that. And that's sort of where the golf thing sort of emerged, because becoming a dad, golf totally makes sense.
Yep.
I fell head over heels in love with golf. Like,
When did that happen?
here's the funniest thing. So my first year back working in the family business, Joe's like, hey, we got a golf outing for one of the school districts coming up. I'm like, what's a golf outing? He was like, oh, it's these cool like fundraiser type events that they put on. It's great networking. And we go out and we just like play golf for a day, and it's with a bunch of people from the school district and whatever. I'm like, okay, what do I bring? He's like, just some clubs and kind of dress somewhat respectable and whatever. I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, oh, okay. And I get out, and it was like the first time I played golf since I was like 12. I was horrendously bad. Like, I don't know how, like any baseball I played growing up, I played like hockey and all kinds of stuff. Like, none of that was applying. Like, none. I was terrible. And I was like, wow, are we going to be doing these a lot? He's like, oh, we're going to be doing these a ton.
He's like, I got you.
Yeah. And I was like how often? He's like, probably like 10 or 12 a summer. Like, we do this with like our school districts and the park districts and like all these things, the Chamber of Commerce, like all these. And I was like, dang. I was like, so I have 2 options. I either like bail on these like company golf outings and stay at the office and like work, or go golfing with my brother and do all this business stuff. I was like, I better get good at this. And so like I went and bought some like used clubs from Play It Against Sports. And I was like, oh, they say TaylorMade, they must be good. They were awful clubs. They were for seniors. They were senior clubs. There's like, you know, like what would be considered like a men's club, and like ladies clubs, and then like senior clubs for seniors. And I didn't know that's what I bought. And I'm like using the completely wrong ones, whatever. But I was just like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. And I started going to the driving range like 3 days a week, watching like infinite hours of YouTube videos, and just became like deeply obsessed with figuring out this golf thing. And it went way beyond golf outings. It turned into like all I wanted to do. Like day and night, all I wanted to do was golf.
Yeah, because your knowledge in the sport is ridiculous. Like I'll be confused on something because, you know, I don't come from a golf background, but you know, I know the game. I played a little bit.
You've been on a crash course here for the last however long.
Yeah, and whenever I'm confused, I'm like, "Hey Dan, like, what does this mean?" And you explain it, you're probably like, "Ah, okay, this is what this is." But fast forward, what really? So you just got obsessed with golf,
Yeah,
fell in love with it. What got you to pursue Dan's Golf World?
So I like I said, I missed doing the camera stuff. I missed like having something going on like that. Like the old days of being music and performing and being on stage and like filming TV shows and cooking shows and all this stuff like had all gone away. And I was just working in a business and loving that period of time. But I really missed like doing that like creative outlet thing. And I just had this like epiphany moment. I'm like, I want to get back into it. What could I do? What could I do? Like maybe I could do a channel on like funny stuff or do this or that. It was like, why don't you do it on golf? Like literally, you're obsessed with golf. Why would you do a gardening show?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Like nobody wants to see you plant hydrangeas, or like something ridiculous. So I was like, I'm just going to do it about golf. But I had no clue what the channel should be about because like I'm no expert golfer. And, I was like, why would I teach somebody how to do this? I'm the one staring on YouTube trying to learn how to do this. And I'm like, so I don't want to do like a swing instruction. You're like, this is how you impact the ball at a proper, swing plane. And da, da, da. I'm like, what am I going to teach people? I'm like, in my mind, I still suck. I mean, even though I'm decent and I can play a good round of golf, but I'm like, I don't want to be the authority. I'm like learning this thing. And I was like, well, it's not going to be about that. It's not. And so I'm like brainstorming with my mom. And I was like, just get started. I was like, started what? She's like, anything. Just like post videos. Get started. I was like, well, if I don't know what it's going to be about, how do I get started? She was like, just get started. I was like, you're frustrating me. And she was like, well, post other people golfing. And I was like, okay. So I started my channel out doing like these edited slow-mo swing videos. And I would find like these super slow motion swing videos of like Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods or like whatever, any of these guys. And because I loved editing and I was like a super big nerd, I would do these speed ramp videos where it would like the slow-mo would like speed up to the backswing and then slow-mo through impact. And I would time it up with like a trending song. And whatever the trending song was, I would always have like the ball impact, like right when the beat dropped or something. And like, it was nuts because like, all of a sudden I was like, my first one got like 10,000 views. I was like, no way. Like, this is nuts. And I started posting more. And then finally, like I had some of these swing videos hitting like 1 million views.
Yeah. You were popping off.
It was wild. And I'm like getting followers and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm still not on camera. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm playing with some editing and I'm like getting like some like dopamine from like seeing the views go up. And I was like, I gotta figure out how to transition this thing. And I didn't know how. And I started trying to do like funny stuff. And I was doing like this kind of like prank series where I'd like go up to people. And I did this at the PGA Superstore in Florida. And I walk up to like, I'm like filming at I'm not even supposed to be filming. And I walk up to some guy and I was like, hey, what do you think of the PGA Superstore? And I put the mic up to him. And soon as he starts to talk, I pull it away and I'm like, no one gives a shit. Like I would just walk away. The guy's like, what the hell, dude? And so I was like doing that for a while. Like, just like, I don't know. I was like, this is terrible. Like, what? Where does this go? Like, I'm just going to go around and be asshole to like random people. And then like, I was doing these other things where like, I'd be golfing with my buddies and I'd be filming, like doing like the selfie thing and they'd be swinging in the background. And as soon as they would hit, I'd be like, ripped it. And they're like, Jesus Christ. Like again, like it's funny to me, but like, what do you do with this? And my mom's like, you're obsessed with talking about golf. Just talk about golf. I was like, what do I talk about? She was like, pick something and talk about it. What's your favorite golf course? What's your dream golf course? Tell the story of it. And I was like, oh, it's kind of a good idea. I'll give it a try. And like, boom, it all connected. It all made sense.
All your best videos seem like they are those type of videos with the golf courses and highlighting all the key elements and the uniqueness and everything like Landman.
Oh, Landman, dude.
That took off.
Yeah. And I mean, it's wild. I mean, even like the world's longest par 3 in Africa. And like, I mean, just these wild stories where people are like, well, I never knew that. I never heard of that. And stuff I'm just like nerding out over. Or like the Island Green up in, I don't even remember, Oregon or something like that. I can't remember anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't know because I never told you, or I might have.
What?
How did you get with Sports Illustrated?
oh, so I start making these story videos. And I've like at the time before you came along and helped us build this website we discussed, I had this like super basic website that just had like my bio on it and then had like a contact form. And I would randomly get stuff like someone's like, hey, what's your favorite golf ball? Like stupid stuff. And I would try to always respond, like be cool. One day I get a DM or like a message from the website and it was like, hey, this is so-and-so from Sports Illustrated. And we absolutely love your videos. Would you be interested in working with us? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, are you serious? I almost thought it was like a joke. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And I look and like his email handle was like to the website. Like I was like, I think this is legit. And I emailed back. I was like, of course I'd love to talk. Like, who wouldn't? And sort of like a short amount of time later, they're like, hey, how about we test this out? Would you make us a video? Like maybe do something on the new TaylorMade P790 video. And I was like, yeah, I could rip something out. Sure. It's my audition. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I fire out a video and I loved it. Like there was like this cool thing because they're like AI designed and like I had like these fun jokes and like I was like, this is it. Like this is my video. And like I send it to him like, hey, we're gonna do like a collab post on Instagram. And I'm like waiting for the collab post request to come. I was like, yeah, cool. Anytime you guys are ready. And I'm just like refresh. And boom, we hit it. And like it starts going and it's like 5,000 views and 10,000 views and 20,000. We hit 100,000. It's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. The video ends up hitting like 1 million views in the first 2 days. And I was like, thank you, algorithm gods, for just blessing me this one time. Like I needed this one to hit. I needed it. And it did. And the video ended up doing, I don't know, like 1.7 million views. It was the biggest video that they had ever had on their channel ever. And like later that week, they're like, hey, we want to put something together long-term. Video did great. TaylorMade super happy. And I was like, well, I got a funny story. They're Senior Flex golf clubs once. Like, don't tell them. And that was it. That was like from then on. But it was just this beautiful moment because you guys know, like when you post videos, some kill, some don't.
Yeah.
Some that you love do terrible. Some you hate take off for no reason.
Yep.
And this one, like I loved, which terrified me because sometimes those are the ones that don't because you're like too close to it and the algorithm can tell. Like not today.
Yeah, we've been there. We've been there plenty of times.
But it hit and I needed it. And that was it. That was my launch pad for Sports Illustrated. And we've been together for like 8 or 9 months now. Crazy opportunities, done some incredible stuff with them.
You've been to the biggest tournaments.
Yeah. I was at the Ryder Cup last year, did the PGA show, did Waste Management, and then just got back spending a week at the Masters.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at kind of doing the rest of the majors this year. Hopefully, if everything works out, I never, whatever.
You don't think too far ahead.
Count the eggs before they hatch or whatever the dumb term is. So I'm always like, well, maybe, but I know it's been incredible.
You don't get your hopes up until you have everything in writing saying you're going.
No, like until I'm walking through the gate, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's not going to work out. They're like, dude, you're here. Like, it's working out. I got to do stuff with Rory, with Ricky Fowler.
That was awesome.
I interviewed Rory McIlroy at the Ryder Cup. I mean, just crazy stuff. Like these guys, I'm finding swing videos and matching them up to stupid trending audio to like talking to them like is insane.
Yeah, and you even what's up, brother? Bryson DeChambeau at the Masters.
I totally did.
I showed him that
when
video.
He was telling me about it, I started dying.
You're like, no, he didn't. Like, no, he
did.
He literally did. I'm like, oh, what's up, brother?
At the showcase of immortals of the PGA Tour or golf in general. It's not PGA Tour, but
of all of golf.
Highest of the highest people in golf is in this press conference. He shows up. DeChambeau starts talking about Sketch and Jinxie.
Yeah.
He goes, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, this is my time.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
Where I saw it, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny as shit.
Well, it's crazy to think like you'll get kicked out for power walking, and I'm dropping like internet jokes in the press conference. Like I'm like, are we good? Nobody's kicking me out.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
we're good.
It was so cool.
Yeah, that was that week at the Masters was incredible. And I remember the first day I get there, I check in, I go out on course, and I just took a moment to like soak up everything. Like I was soaking up more than this moment. I was soaking up the last few years of grinding. I was soaking up like the highs and the lows and the questioning, like, what am I even doing? And like just standing there looking out Augusta National and soaking up one of the most beautiful golf courses in the world. And I'm here. And I like can't even explain. Like somehow it all just kind of worked.
That was the coolest thing
Yeah.
that you've had to have done probably since starting Dance Golf World.
Yeah. And you could vouch. I'm so obsessed that I wear Masters clothes like every day now.
Every day, man.
I can't
Every
stop.
day. Like I asked,
Nerding so
I asked
hard.
them before, like earlier, like in the morning or early afternoon. I'm like, hey, you got a Dance Golf World like shirt to put on so you could like show off your logo? He goes, I might have a hat. You see what he's wearing.
Yeah. I looked at the hat. I was like, that's stupid. It doesn't even say the Masters on it. Like,
But yeah, man, that's so sweet. Man, you've lived a fucking awesome life.
crazy.
Like from being a reality TV show star to being a country music star,
Yeah.
being in the top 100
Yeah.
for country music.
Number 7 on Billboard.
In a time where
crazy.
Yeah.
in a time where Toby Keith was taking off.
Oh,
and
my God,
And you
like,
had
Taylor Swift was
Taylor
like
Swift,
exploding.
who else was taking off?
George,
back then?
well, even like George Strait was still like the
Yup.
king of record sales. Like, you know, you're competing with these legends. And
Blake Sheldon was just starting.
yeah, you have like Rascal Flatts just
Yeah.
going banana sandwich. And it's just like, hey, how are you? I lost weight on TV.
I'm here.
Yeah. We cool?
That's
Who
awesome,
the
man.
is this guy?
That is awesome. And then you transition to being a father and
Yeah.
being a husband. Like that had to feel just so rewarding.
It's crazy.
Like,
well, and here's the thing, and I will tell you, I assume nobody has any kids that you're aware of yet.
yeah, I don't know if I have kids, but I'm pretty sure I don't.
Dude, you, no matter how ready you feel, you never really feel ready. But when it all happens and like, boom, they pop out and they're in this world, you're like, oh my God, I would do anything to make sure like you're okay and take care of you and like this family and whatever. Like, I was so terrified, and like I'm like, how can I have kids? I am a kid. Like I'm a big idiot. Whatever. And it's like, boom. Life is about more than just me.
And you didn't just have one.
Oh my God. Yeah, because in theme of my life, everything has to be over the top. So might as well just start out with a bunch of kids right off the bat.
You had twins.
Yeah.
How is it having twins?
Dude, it's crazy because it's not like a 1+1 thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 1+1 times infinity because you already don't know what you're doing. But now, like, you have like 2 kids crying and you're trying to like hold them, but then like, how do I get a bottle? I don't have another hand to get the door, and like I almost dropped one, and then like the dog's barking, and like it's I don't know. And my wife and I, we used to joke, we would like see other parents at the grocery store and we'd be like, 1. We got a 1. It'd be so easy. Like, oh my God. Like, I mean, you can imagine like when they're little, like you bring the car seat in with you and then you like latch it in. Well, now we have 2. So my hands are already full. You have a diaper bag that's like twice as big and you're like trying to bring toys. So like when we came in, it was like we were moving. Like every time it was just like, we're here. It was just like crazy. And we see those other people, they're like, got their one little baby. We're like, rookies.
And then 3 years later, you had another one, right?
Yeah, more boys to the pile.
Yeah.
And another one on the way.
Another boy?
Don't know yet.
Oh, don't know?
Don't know what.
Do you want to know?
We're so back and forth about it because I don't know. Like it's the fourth. Like, you know, I mean, what's at this point, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's terrifying, you know, and it's like, I don't know, you know, we still have a little time, but we don't know yet. And we haven't decided if we want to know or not.
Because, you know, you guys were all boys.
Yeah, I came from a family of boys, and now I have a family of boys.
You have all boys. Your brother Joe, he's got
one daughter.
He's got one daughter,
Yeah.
and then Rich.
Rich is none.
Okay, so there's only one girl.
Yeah. So
Man,
who
you guys are
knows?
just producing testosterone.
It's just coursing through the veins.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of energy in the house.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bedtime's a lot.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
who's worse?
Me.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it. That's what Stacy's like. You're not helping. You know, I'm like, who wants to wrestle? Like we're trying to go to bed.
Hey, the twins might start getting you soon.
Dude, I mean, here's the thing. If they both teamed up on me and I wasn't ready for it, they might, you know, I mean, they're only 7, but I mean, they're big enough where they could gouge an eye. You know what I mean? Like, hey, fight 30.
They're swimmers, dude. They're pretty jacked for 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're pretty strong.
I mean, like, I'm like, dude, you have lats. Like, how do you, like, you have like,
That's wild.
yeah.
And funny full circle story, your wife
Yeah.
coached my cousin in swimming.
Stop it.
No joke.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I saw the logo of the organization.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my cousin swam for there. She's like, who's your cousin? And I told her. And she was like, no way. Yeah, I know him. I'm like, yeah, that's my
Dude.
cousin.
It's a small world after all.
It's so weird.
Wow.
So fucking weird.
Dude, and what's funny is my wife swam through college, like NCAA swimmer, like phenomenal. My kids, like they're taking it on like at a young age, like they're already like winning like their ribbons and prizes. I am garbage in the water. I'm more of like a floaty and sunburn kind of a guy, you know, and like they're like, Dad, let's race the other side. And I was like, no, I'm already exhausted from not doing anything.
Yeah, just give me my tube and I'm good.
Yeah. Like, you know, the white sunscreen stuff on your nose. Like, that's me. Yeah.
With the little, like, what is it? The tin foil just.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude. And the worst thing is, too, like, I mean, I sunburn in, like, I mean, from watching TV that's too bright.
I'm the same way.
Are you too?
Yeah,
I'm
me
the same
too.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm not catching something from these lights right now.
Yeah, we might have to go put some lotion on after
Yeah,
this
I know.
this pod here. Yeah, so like, I mean, aside from like me not being made for the water, I'm hardly made for the outside.
Me too, man. It's rough.
Yeah,
I full on swim with a long sleeve on.
for safety.
Yes, for safety.
You're a pool shirt guy?
Oh yeah.
There's no shame. There's no shame.
Look, well, I could say my body looks okay. It's just the sun. Me and the sun are not the best friends.
Dude, your body's all messed up right now.
You got some issues going on?
Not bad issues, just on the outside.
Issues, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Shoulders, arms, chest.
I hear you.
New lady friend.
Got a new girlfriend, and she tried eating me the other day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I assume she was nearly successful.
Oh yeah, I had to like hold her
We'll show you. We'll show you after the pod.
after the pod.
All right, that's that kind of happens post show.
Post show after dark.
Yeah. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you can-
Dude, we've been thinking about
you know?
not now, but like in the future, we've been thinking about doing that or potentially an OnlyFans.
You know what? You got to monetize this thing one way or another. That's all I'm
You got to
saying.
make some money.
Hey, shirtless pods on OnlyFans.
Shirtless pods.
I ain't got no tats on my chest, but I could blind you.
Might be time.
Yeah, I've been wanting them, but I got to finish my arm first.
How many tattoos do you have?
I'm covered up both arms. It's kind of like a near sleeve thing coming together here that goes all the way up. And then I've got like a pretty solid piece on the back of my leg. But here's what's funny. If you were to ask me right now, dead serious, is it on my left leg or right leg? I don't know for a matter of fact. but it's like a big piece on my calf. And usually when I go to show somebody, I pull up the wrong pant leg. Like they're like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, no, I actually forget what leg it's on. It's weird. I know. You'd think that's something you would know. But if I had to put serious money on it, it's only a 50-50 guess if I were to tell you left or right.
That is funny.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know. That's a weird part about me. I think because I don't see it often. Like, I mean, when am I focusing on my backside? I feel bad for anybody who focuses on my backside. It's not attractive.
Yeah, he's got a tattoo of my girlfriend's name on there, but it don't mean the
Did you get
same
that
thing.
recently?
No, it wasn't recently.
Got it. Yeah.
It wasn't recently. It was probably a year before I met them.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah, because the way we met each other, we basically, so I'm just to say his ex now.
Yeah.
They started dating like 3 weeks before me and Faye started dating.
Okay.
So we were the new guys in the group,
Yeah.
and we just clicked.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm like, we both don't know no one, so
That's always nice when you're like, hey, you're cool. I'm cool. Like we can kind of vibe while.
yeah, we were vibing, and then like 3 months in, we're like, we got to start a podcast. We got to
Yeah.
start a podcast, and then 9 months go by, and we're like,
Started talking about it a little bit more.
we started talking
Yeah.
about it, and I'm like, you know what? We got to pull the trigger. We have to go. We have to do this, and we
Let's
started
get some
doing
fuzzy mics and let's do this
it.
thing.
Yeah,
Different
snow
colors.
cones.
Yeah.
we've gotten Cosmo and Wanda. You know,
Okay.
we've got ice cream. Like,
Yeah.
rocking the mint chocolate chip on my end.
I
He's
like it.
rocking the strawberry sherbet.
I like it.
But yeah, so far our growth, we didn't really advertise it. We're not big social media guys. I have some clout on TikTok, but it don't mean nothing because of what I'm posting is not doing. It's not hitting, and I'm not relevant anymore. But
You had a heyday.
I did.
You did.
I was hot.
Yeah.
I was hot for a minute. Every video was reaching over like 20K views at
Yeah.
least. But then, stuff I was posting, it was almost out of style. So I tried to change up my little spiel, or spiel, whatever that word is, and
Shtick.
shtick, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And the algorithm didn't take it. I mean, some of
Yeah.
them still hit, but it wasn't the same. It's like as soon as I applied for the creator fund, it just,
They're like, you're done.
because I was borderline not going to finish college.
Yeah.
If I was still on that trajectory, I wasn't going to finish. But I saw what happened, and I'm like, yeah, I got to keep.
The algorithm giveth and the algorithm taketh away.
Yep, that is right. Mikey, did you want to ask him anything? I mean, I feel like I was kind of taking
I
over.
was just letting y'all take the reins on everything. I was just
Soaking
chilling.
it all up.
I was just listening to your stories. Your stories sound so crazy from where you started to where you are now. I'm still wowed by the house that we're in right now. I pulled up. I was like, I don't belong here. It's so crazy.
I think
Farnsworth, let him in.
No,
No,
for real.
not
you
true.
should have seen his face when he came out of his car. It was so fun. It was like my face. Remember when I?
Solid. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I try to be humble. I mean, it's comfy, you know.
It's awesome.
Walk in, there's a piano. Never seen that. Just I was wowed by the piano.
But what else are you going to put in the piano room? I mean, you need one if you kind of, I mean, you don't want to waste the space.
We were walking in through the garage, and he looks to his right, sees the big ass window in the kitchen.
Yeah.
He goes, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I did one of these. That's crazy.
Like, what was it? Like Daddy Daycare, whatever that Eddie Murphy movie. Like when he goes in the bathroom and the kid peed everywhere, he's like, yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, what an episode! I think we should cut it off there. Cut it off hot.
Dude, I appreciate you guys inviting me on,
No,
man.
for real.
Well, I wanted you as our first guest because you've done so much for me. I
Righteous.
really appreciate it.
Yeah,
You
man.
gave me the opportunity to really be creative, do what I want to do with my job. It took me over 3 years to
Yeah.
get a job for what I went to school for, and I've been doing social media for years. And I'm talking like as soon as I was able to pick up a camera, I was either taking pictures or funny little videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I want to thank you. Like it means the world. Like I come in every day, I'm happy. Like
That's awesome, man. I will tell you, like from the reverse side, I was like, this guy, like, you know, I mean, he's got to come to the house. Is he going to think this is weird? Like, you know, I mean, like, you know, the studio's in the house. Like, what do you mean I got to go to your house? Like, you know, and I was like nervous. I was like, you know, it's taking like a big leap to like leave like a secure, proper job to like be like, yeah, this dude who makes TikToks invited me to his house, you know, and like on paper, it kind of sounds weird. But I mean, I felt like, you know, you were like, hey, I think I see what's going on here. And I think there could be something. And so I will say, I will return the appreciation that you jumped out, took a big leap, and you know, jumped on this crazy ride with us.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. And it's just going to keep getting more fun, especially now because I'm going to be able to travel with you guys.
Yeah.
Probably more often than not now, even though you might want me here just to do like the website.
You got to get out and see it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So at what point do we tell Mikey that once you come, you never can leave? You're stuck. You're trapped. You're in the Dan's Golf World now.
I'm going to teach you how to build a website, dog.
You have to.
Definitely be down to learn something.
Beats Walmart.
No, yes, I agree. I definitely see it.
How dare you?
I'm working on it.
No, you're pretty secure over there, though.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a job that you won't go away anytime.
Yeah,
soon,
no, you're solid.
Yeah,
you're
they're pretty established.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the corporate structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also wanted to touch on real quick before we end the pod is like, it's crazy how similar me and you think.
Oh, it's weird.
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like we'll say something and like you'll say something and I'll like dead honest be like, I was just thinking the exact same thing, and then vice versa. And it just today or yesterday, I asked what color mic tip do you want?
I'm like, what are they? You read through them like orange. You're like, how did I know he was going to say that?
Yeah. It was either going to be orange or yellow. Yeah. And I'm like, it's probably going to be orange. And then I put 2 and 2 together. It's the fucking Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you picked it just thinking that.
I think it's like a subconscious subliminal thing because I have this like special place in my heart for orange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It has nothing to do with the Bears. I promise.
No,
Nothing.
Even though they got the first overall pick, but who knows? But anyways,
You can confirm I watch zero other
too.
sports other than golf.
I watch zero football. I watch baseball and bowling, and now golf.
Yeah.
So
What do you watch?
Same with basketball. Only basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
he's a hooper.
Who do you freak out for? Like, who's your go-to? Who do you love in the game?
The player?
Yeah.
Probably Giannis.
Yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Just the way he plays and just how he dominates the game. It's crazy.
You're a tall guy. Do you play?
Of course. Yeah. I just got put into a men's league. Starts Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he'd just be dunking on our tiny
Yeah.
asses.
You know, his favorite player don't play no more. Scalabrini.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
You don't know who Scalabrini is?
Brian Scalabrine?
No.
He played for the Bulls, the Celtics.
Does he golf?
He probably
He
does.
might.
Probably does.
Probably does.
Dude, golf is the great unifier. Like people from so many sports and different walks of life like meet on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him and stuff.
It's his dad.
Look,
Dad?
when I had shorter hair and no beard, they used to call me that on the basketball court all the time. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
He's still coming back from getting milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty famous.
Man.
I just haven't seen him yet. Haven't met him.
He'll be back.
All right, man. This has been it's by far the best episode we've had. You know, we're only 4 episodes in, but you know what? We keep inching.
Well, it was an honor that you would invite me on the best one.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna have you on again in the near future. We're trying to at least like have like a guest on once a month, and you're definitely gonna be coming on again. Like it's
Heck yeah.
definitely gonna be a thing.
Do I go for the same color or do I
dude.
mix it up?
No, you can keep
Orange
that
is all
same
you.
color.
That's it.
You're
I
locked
like
in.
it. Okay.
You're locked in.
I'm Team Orange over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
like it.
so we're just keeping on inching. It's me, Josh Bogslife Boger,
Mikey Mecca.
and we're with Dan Evans, Dan's Golf World, and keep on inching, keep moving, because you know every inch counts. Peace.
Deuces.